वीडियो ऑफ करनी है ऑन कर ऑन अच्छा
स्टूडेंट्स नीचे से बच्चे ये काम कर रहे हैं यहाँ पे मेरी स्लाइड Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Students, today's topic of your lecture is iron deficiency anemia and anemia of chronic diseases. We have already discussed introduction to blood, in which we saw how the blood cells form in the bone marrow and what are the stages that lead to the formation of mature blood cells, RBCs, WBCs, and platelets. And now we are moving towards specifically the disorders of red blood cells. We have studied one anemia, that is megaloblastic anemia. Now another nutritional anemia, that is iron deficiency anemia. We will cover this today, and anemia of chronic diseases. So what are dietary anemias? You should know what are dietary anemias, that anemias that are related to the lack of or the constituents that are needed from the diet, and if they are not taken, anemias occur. For example, the anemias, the dietary anemias are iron deficiency anemia, megaloblastic anemia, and folic acid anemia. The name of folic acid and vitamin B12 anemia is megaloblastic anemia, and the other dietary anemia is iron deficiency anemia. So iron deficiency anemia, in this, deficiency of iron is the most common nutritional disorder in the world. So the prevalence of iron deficiency anemia is higher in developing countries. Why? We will see why this is more in developing countries. So particularly in toddlers, adolescent girls, and women of childbearing age. Better look here, adolescent girls, and again the same gender, women of childbearing age, they are most affected by this iron deficiency anemia. So first of all, we should know that how iron is distributed inside the body. So the amount of average in male and female, and this is the percentage of total. We will focus more on this percentage. So the body iron, 65% of the body iron resides inside the hemoglobin. Hemoglobin contains 65% of the total body iron. Ferritin and hemosiderin. What is ferritin and hemosiderin? They are the storage proteins. They are the storage forms of iron inside the body. So this in storage form, it's 30% of the total iron. Myoglobin, it is a muscle protein. Myoglobin, as a name indicates, myo, muscle. Myoglobin, it's 3.5% of the total body iron. Heme enzymes such as cytochromes, catalase, peroxidase, ferriproteins, it's 0.5%. Beta, you should know these names of these enzymes. This is a very favorite Viva question of the examiners, that what are the enzymes, heme enzymes, or what enzymes contain iron. So these are cytochromes, catalase, peroxidase, and ferriproteins. And the rest of the iron, 0.1%, is transferrin bound iron. We know, as the name indicates, transferrin. Trans means something that is transporting ferrin, iron, that is transporting iron in the blood. So transferrin bound iron is 0.1%. So iron storage. The major sites of iron storage are the liver, spleen, bone marrow, and mononuclear phagocytes. What are mononuclear phagocytes? They are macrophages. So the stores of iron are inside liver, spleen, bone marrow, and macrophages. So iron in the body is recycled between the functional and the storage pool. What is the functional pool and what is storage pool? Storage pool is inside liver, spleen, bone marrow, and inside macrophages. And the functional pool is which is being What happened to it? So the functional iron is acting, that is taking part in the functional functions of the body. That is number one is hemoglobin, myoglobin, then the enzymes which we have already seen. So these are the functional part, and the storage pool is the hemosiderin in transferrin form that is stored in the liver, spleen, bone marrow, and macrophages. The total body iron content is normally about 2.5 grams in women and 6 grams in men. Why less in women? Because women lose iron every month during menstruation. So the total body iron content of women is generally lower. It's 2.5 grams in women and 6 grams in men. What is serum ferritin? Serum ferritin is the storage pool of iron. Hemosiderin is another form of storage of iron, but iron is less readily available. First, the ferritin is consumed, and then the hemosiderin stores are available to be consumed. So, in hemosiderin, the iron that is stored as hemosiderin, it is less readily available. Dietary iron. There are two types of iron in the diet, heme iron and non-heme iron. But this is important. Heme iron and non-heme iron. What is heme iron? Heme iron is present in hemoglobin containing animal food like meat, liver, and spleen. Meat in particular liver is a better source than vegetables, eggs, or dietary food. So animal sources of iron is mainly heme iron. And what is non-heme iron? It is obtained from cereals, vegetables, and beans. So the vegetarian food has mostly non-heme iron, and heme iron is from animal sources. So milk is a poor source of iron, hence breastfed babies need iron supplements. So beta, whenever you are in your OPD and a mother brings her 8 months or 1 year old toddler and says that he is lagging behind growth and his growth as compared to other children of his age. So you should suspect dietary anemia, that is iron deficiency anemia, because children are mostly fed on milk for prolonged periods. So milk is a poor source of iron. So mostly these children get anemic. They are iron deficient and they have iron deficiency anemia because children have prolonged breastfeeding, and it lacks iron. So absorption of iron, iron is absorbed from duodenum and proximal jejunum through specific receptors. It is transported by transferrin, as the name indicates, transferrin. It is transported by transferrin to bone marrow. Only 5 to 10% of daily dietary iron is absorbed. Beta, only 5 to 10% of daily dietary iron is absorbed. Rest is wasted. So ferric form must be converted to ferrous form. Transferrin is the iron binding protein that transports iron in plasma. It is normally 33% saturated with iron. So what is total iron binding capacity? Or the other name of total iron binding capacity is transferrin iron binding capacity. So this is the measure of transferrin, that how much transferrin can be saturated with iron, or how much transferrin is available to bind iron and transport into the blood to bone marrow. So normally transferrin is 33% saturated. So total iron binding capacity of iron is at optimal level. So when a patient becomes iron deficient, there is less iron in the blood to be transported. So the many transferrin receptors are available for iron to be attached and to be transported iron is not, but iron is not available. So what happens? The transferrin iron binding capacity is increased. More receptors are available for transferrin, for iron to be attached. So in iron deficiency anemia, more transferrin is available, total iron binding capacity is increased. So remember this thing. What is hepcidin? Beta, you can easily remember hepcidin is a protein. You can say this is a villain protein. What does it do? This is the major hormonal regulator of iron homeostasis. It inhibits iron release and absorption. Hepcidin inhibits iron absorption and release from the already stored forms. So this is a villain protein. It inhibits iron absorption and iron release from the already stored protein, is already stored form in the inside the body. So the body goes into the iron deficiency state. In a pseudo iron deficiency state, the iron stores are there, but hepcidin is not allowing them to be released into the blood and to be to be utilized in RBC production. So hepcidin is a villain protein. So it inhibits release from macrophages and from intestinal epithelial cells by its interaction with the transmembrane iron transporter. Transmembrane iron transporter ferroportin is mainly affected. We will see it later. So the regulation of iron absorption. Beta, follow my cursor. This is heme iron. This is present inside the food. You can see these cells are enterocytes. These are enterocytes. This is apical surface, that is the luminal surface, which is in contact with the food. And this is basal surface. And from here, there are blood vessels which absorb the dietary nutrients. So, in food, we have heme iron and non-heme iron. The heme form of iron, we have already seen that heme form of iron gets easily absorbed into the enterocytes. So there is a special receptor for heme iron. This is heme transporter, and heme iron transports through this heme transporter inside the enterocyte. Now, look at this non-heme iron. What happens to this? If non-heme iron is present in the form, in the ferric form, it has to be converted to ferrous form because only ferrous form can be absorbed. So to convert ferric form to ferrous form, there is a enzyme, duodenal cytochrome B, that is present inside the luminal surface of the enterocytes, that converts this ferric form to ferrous form so that it can get absorbed by this DMT1 transporter. This is divalent metal transporter 1. Divalent metal transporter 1. So only ferrous form can be transported through this. If the non-heme iron is in ferrous form, it can readily be absorbed from DMT1. So now the heme form of iron and non-heme iron are inside the enterocyte. So some of the heme iron and non-heme iron reside inside the enterocyte as mucosal ferritin inside the enterocyte. But some of both these forms, they get transported outside from the basal surface of this enterocyte into the blood. So there is on the basal surface, there is a transporter which is called ferroportin. The name of this transporter is ferroportin. Now this ferroportin has to transport all the absorbed iron inside the enterocyte to the bloodstream. So this iron is now transported through ferroportin to the and it crosses the basal surface. Now there is another problem, that inside blood the iron can only be transported in the ferric form. Transferrin only takes up ferric form of iron. So now again we need to convert this ferrous form to ferric form. So what happens? There is another enzyme present at the basal surface, that is hephaestin. This converts ferrous form into ferric form, and this ferric form then attaches to transferrin and then transport to liver, spleen and other storage sites and then other sites where this iron is needed. So I hope you get it. Now there is a this is hepcidin. So we have already seen hepcidin is a villain protein. This inhibits this basal transporter so that iron cannot be taken up from the basal surface of the enterocyte. Iron can reach this enterocyte, inside the enterocyte, but it cannot be transported outside by if the hepcidin is acting on ferroportin and inhibiting ferroportin. So hepcidin is a villain protein. Now, these are the factors that favor absorption of iron, and on this side, these are the factors that reduce absorption of iron. These are very important things and very simple to memorize. So, the factors that favor absorption are if the iron is in the heme form. We have already seen there is a special heme iron receptor that takes up heme form readily. So if iron is in heme form, it can easily be absorbed. If the iron is in the ferrous form, it can easily be absorbed because for absorption, ferrous form is needed. So if the presence of acids such as HCl and vitamin C also favors the absorption of iron. Solubilizing agents such as sugars and amino acids also favors the absorption of iron. Reduced serum hepcidin. Hepcidin levels are low, villain levels are low. So there is more iron is readily absorbed inside the blood. So if there is ineffective erythropoiesis, we have discussed yesterday, then ineffective erythropoiesis is a condition in which the production of blood, erythropoiesis, production of blood is ineffective inside the bone marrow. So when there is ineffective erythropoiesis, body is readily available, all the receptors are readily available to absorb iron inside the body. So in ineffective erythropoiesis, iron absorption is increased during pregnancy. Why? Because the iron requirements are so much increased. So during pregnancy, pregnancy also favors the absorption of iron. And heredity hemochromatosis, in which there is so much hemolysis of blood, the absorption of iron is also it's the condition. Hereditary hemochromatosis is the condition in which the iron absorption is abnormally increased inside the body. Sorry for that. So factors that reduce absorption, they are if the inorganic iron is consumed, iron in ferric form, alkalis such as antacids or pancreatic secretions, they reduce the absorption. So precipitating agents such as phytates, phosphatates, and tea, they reduce the absorption of iron. Increased serum hepcidin levels decrease the absorption of iron. Decreased erythropoiesis and inflammation also. Inflammation increases the levels of hepcidin. So when the levels of hepcidin is increased inside the blood, there is decreased iron absorption. So, this is a picture in which you can see, focus on these yellow boxes. So how hemoglobin is formed? Hemoglobin has a heme component which contains iron and a globin component. Globin is a protein. So when heme and globin, they combine, they form hemoglobin. So there are some diseases in which heme production is hampered, and there are some diseases in which globin production is defective. So they lead to improper or defective hemoglobin formation. So in iron deficiency and chronic inflammation or malignancies, the iron absorption or iron availability is reduced. So there is less heme production. So due to this defective heme, hemoglobin will not form. Globin is available, but heme is not available. So hemoglobin will not form. So in thalassemias, what happened? There is defect of alpha or beta chains. So these are the globin chains. So this protein is defective. So in thalassemia, this globin is not forming, and thus again hemoglobin is not forming. This is iron metabolism inside the body. When the iron is present inside mononuclear phagocyte stores, that is macrophages, whenever body needs iron, this is transported into the blood, and transferrin takes up iron and transports it. So transferrin takes up this iron, say from liver or spleen, and transports it to the bone marrow to form marrow erythroid precursors. And then again, marrow erythroid precursors make mature RBCs. So these mature RBCs come inside the circulation. So these are circulating erythrocytes, and again circulating erythrocytes, when they are at their old age, they goes to the spleen, as spleen is the graveyard of RBCs. So this spleen, where again iron is taken up and stored as macrophages. So these two boxes show the daily loss of iron from body. So iron can be lost from skin, as skin desquamates, from gut, because gut endothelium desquamates, and by shedding in urine, or during blood loss. So it's it's an average 1 to 2 milligram per day loss of iron from the body. So what are the causes of iron deficiency? This is very important. This can be asked in your UHS examination, as well as in your Viva question. So beta, iron deficiency occurs if iron is not available. There is decreased iron intake, or there is decreased iron absorption, or increased requirements. So the causes of decreased iron in diet is if the patient is taking poor diet, old age, in infants that have delayed weaning. We have already discussed milk is very low in iron. So in infants, they are prolonged fed on milk, or the weaning is delayed, they are iron deficient. Decreased absorption of iron is in the patients of gastrectomy, or atrophic gastritis, or gluten-induced enteropathies. If there is blood loss can occur in hookworm disease, or through hemorrhoids, bleeding peptic ulcers, bleeding esophageal varices, or GIT malignancies, and gynecological blood loss through uterus. Or there is increased requirement. Increased requirement is in growing age. Growing age, infants, adolescents, pregnancy. So I already told you that women are more prone to be iron deficient, because during menstrual loss throughout their life, during pregnancy, the requirements are increased, and during growing age. So women are more prone to be iron deficient. And PNH is paroxysmal nocturnal hemoglobinuria, in which hemoglobin is lost through urine. So what is the pathogenesis? Negative iron balance and mobilization from ferritin and hemosiderin. So leave it. So signs and symptoms. You all know the signs and symptoms of iron deficiency anemia. You know the patient presents with pallor. The patient can present with headache. Mostly the children, school going age children complain of having headache when they are studying in class. So they are genuinely saying this. They are not avoiding their classes. Headache is very genuine problem with iron deficiency anemia. So shortness of breath, weakness, lethargy, dry and pale skin. This painless glossitis, as you can see, the crevices of tongue are lost, painless glossitis. Angular stomatitis, you can see angular stomatitis. Plummer-Vinson syndrome. Beta, remember this. This is this can be a very tricky question for you during Viva. Plummer-Vinson syndrome. It's a syndrome that is related to iron deficiency, but in long-standing iron deficiency, what happens? The patient presents. This is a triad: esophageal web, atrophic gastritis, and microcytic hyperchromic anemias. Patient may present with visual disturbance, in which cotton wool spots. You can see on retina, these are cotton wool spots. So why these occur? They occur due to anemia. Due to anemia, the vessels burst out, and the blood is there is a hemorrhage, small hemorrhages on retina. They are called cotton wool spots. Brittle, rigid, or spoon nails. You can see this. This is called koilonychia. Koilonychia. So usual dietary cravings such as pica. You know, children usually eat mud, clay, and they lick the walls. So these are all pica. Pica are the unusual dietary cravings due to iron deficiency. Patients also present with palpitations, tachycardia, bounding pulse, cardiomegaly. These are all cardiac manifestations of iron deficiency anemia. Systemic flow murmurs can also occur. Congestive heart failure is the sequel of this. So congestive cardiac failure can also occur eventually with the long-standing iron deficiency anemia. In children, particularly in school-going children, you can see irritability, poor cognitive function, and decline in psychomotor development. They do not get good grades in school. So you should know that if the child is not going good in school, in class, the teacher is complaining, you should first focus on iron deficiency. So how do you diagnose it in laboratory? The laboratory findings include, number one, you all know that we will go to CBC, complete blood count. On complete blood count, we will see low hemoglobin. Hemoglobin is low, MCV is low. MCV is mean corpuscular volume. Cells are small. So when the cell is small, the volume is low. So the MCV is low. MCH, mean corpuscular hemoglobin. Hemoglobin is not forming. So the mean corpuscular hemoglobin also goes low. MCHC is normal or may be low. On peripheral film, this is very important. On peripheral film, red cells are small and microcytic. As you can see, I hope you can see this picture. These are small cells. You can see these are small cells than usual cells, but they have more central pallor. Usually RBCs have 1/3 central pallor. These cells are empty. So the cells are small. They're microcytes, pale. These all cells you can see you can see the boundary. So they are pale hypochromic cells. Poikilocytes are abnormally sized. The red cells of abnormal shape. So poikilocytes are seen. So you can see this is some other shape of RBC. This is another shape. You can also see these elongated RBCs. Some RBCs are round, some are elongated. So small elongated red blood cells are called pencil cells. This is pencil cell. As you can see, this is an elongated cell. Pencil cells are seen in iron deficiency. And target cells. Target cells are the cells of bull-eye appearance. There is a cell and there is a central dot. So it gives the appearance of bull-eye appearance. So these are target cells. As you can see in this picture, this is microcyte. This has hypochromia. Many other cells have hypochromia also. This is a pencil cell, elongated cell, pencil cell, poikilocyte. And this bull-eye appearance is called target cell. You can see there is a target inside the cell. So this is target cell. When you go for other tests, such as serum iron, the serum iron is low. Serum total iron binding capacity, we have already discussed. In iron deficiency, iron is low, total iron binding capacity of transferrin is increased. Transferrin can accommodate more iron. So total iron binding capacity is increased. Serum transferrin saturation, the transferrin is itself less saturated. So the transferrin saturation goes low. Serum ferritin, ferritin is the stored form. So the stored form of iron is also low inside the body. So serum ferritin levels are low. Serum hepcidin levels are also low. So this indicates that the patient has iron deficiency, not any other disease. So what will you see on bone marrow? On bone marrow, although bone marrow is not indicated in iron deficiency anemia, it is a invasive procedure. So even then, what will you find on bone marrow? What are the bone marrow findings? Iron can be seen only with Pearl stain. So on Pearl stain, complete absence of iron from stores and developing erythroblasts. And the erythroblasts are small and have a rigid cytoplasm. Beta, this is a normal marrow in which this blue colored, you can see Pearl stain stains iron in blue color. So this blue color is all stored iron stores you can see inside the marrow. They are adequate. And this is a zoom in of a single erythroblast. So you can see this is normal erythroblast. Compare it with an iron deficiency erythroblast. This has ragged margins. This is sieve-like appearance of nucleus. And again, on the marrow, there are very less stores of iron inside marrow. So on pulse stain, there is complete absence of iron from the stores. You cannot see iron inside the marrow. And the developing erythroblasts are small as compared to, as you can see this, these are small and have a ragged cytoplasm. So treatment, how will you treat an iron deficiency patient? Iron is given to correct anemia and replenish iron stores. So oral iron in the form of ferrous sulfate, ferrous fumarate, and ferrous gluconate are given to the patient. They are easily available in the market. Ferrous sulfate is in the form of 67 milligram of iron in 200 milligram tablet. This is usually not well tolerated by the patients, as iron supplements cause GI disturbance. So mostly ferrous gluconate, ferrous fumarate forms are given. Parenteral iron, you have seen in gynae wards that the patients get iron parenterally. So parenteral forms of iron are iron dextran, ferric carboxymaltose, and ferric hydroxide sucrose. This is Venofer. You have, I hope you have heard this word, Venofer, and furomoxetol. So, how will you judge the patient response after the therapy? You have given your patient supplements, and how will you judge that the patient is responding to the therapy? So you will get a retic count after 5 to 7 days. What happens to retic count? Retic count starts to build up in the patients of iron deficiency. When you give supplements, retic counts start to build up. So, beta, this is also very important. The differential diagnosis of hypochromic microcytic anemias. So, number one is iron deficiency anemia. Whenever you get a slide of hypochromic microcytic cells, you should know that number one, it's iron deficiency anemia, thalassemia, anemia of chronic inflammation, sideroblastic anemia, or lead poisoning. These 5 should be on your fingertips. So, an exercise question. A 38 years old female is experiencing heavy menstrual flow, that is, she has menorrhagia for past 2 years. She experiences weakness and dyspnea on exertion. Lab findings are HB is 8 gram per deciliter, that is low HB. MCV is 53, that is also low. The normal value of MCV is 76 to 96 femtoliters. MCH is also low. It's normally it's 27 to 33 picograms. MCHC is also given. Peripheral blood film shows this picture. So in this picture, what you can appreciate, you can see these cells, these N-isocytosis, that is, the cells are of variable size and shape. Coagulocytes is variability in shape. So you can see these pencil cells. This is another pencil cell. The cells inside have hypochromia and the microcytosis. You can see. So this statement takes you towards the diagnosis of iron deficiency anemia. So what is the most probable diagnosis? It's iron deficiency anemia. What are the peripheral blood and bone marrow findings? We have already discussed. What lab investigations are done in this case to confirm the diagnosis? Number one, it's CBC, peripheral smear, other lab tests that include serum iron, serum ferritin, total iron binding capacity, and so on, and then bone marrow biopsy findings. So what are the causes of hypochromic microcytic anemia? This is the question that I have told you, that these 5 differentials should be on your fingertips. So that are iron deficiency anemia, thalassemia, sideroblastic anemia, anemia of chronic diseases, and lead poisoning. So these 5 should be on your fingertips. Beta, this is a small topic, anemia of chronic diseases. In this, impaired red cell production is associated with chronic diseases that produce systemic inflammation. So inflammation increases the levels of hepcidin. So chronic infections that include osteomyelitis, bacterial endocarditis, and lung abscesses, chronic immune disorders such as rheumatoid arthritis, SLE, and regional enteritis. They also leads to anemia of chronic diseases. In neoplasms and liver and kidney failure patients, we also see anemia of chronic diseases. So pathogenesis is that the certain inflammatory mediators, that is interleukin-6, stimulate an increase in the hepatic production of hepcidin. This villain protein is produced. So what happens? It blunts the erythropoietin levels. Erythropoietin levels are decreased. Absorption of iron and release from the stores is also hampered. So the progenitors do not proliferate adequately. So we have already discussed this picture. This is actually what happens in inflammation. Hepcidin is released from liver, and hepcidin inhibits ferroportin. Better remember ferroportin, this transporter ferroportin, and this leads to decreased iron absorption. Increased levels of hepcidin results in reduction of iron absorption from intestine, sequestration of iron within macrophages, and reduced supply of iron to developing erythrocytes. Although the iron is present in stores, but it cannot be utilized by developing erythrocytes. Hepcidin directly or indirectly suppresses erythropoietin production. So erythropoietin production is also decreased. Lab diagnosis: hemoglobin is low, but it cannot be less than usually the hemoglobin does not go less than 9 grams per deciliter. In these patients, MCV can be normal or it may be mildly reduced. MCH is usually normal, but it can also be reduced. So up till now, the picture of the CBC mimics iron deficiency. So how will you diagnose? On peripheral sphere, there is commonly normochromic, normocytic, or mild hypochromic microcytic anemia. So beta, serum iron is reduced, total iron binding capacity is reduced. This is the turning point that takes your diagnosis towards anemia of chronic disease. In iron deficiency anemia, the total iron binding capacity is increased. In anemia of chronic disease, the total iron binding capacity is decreased, although the patient is anemic. So transferrin saturation is mildly reduced. Serum ferritin, the stores are increased. This is another clue. The stores, there are sufficient stores. In iron deficiency, serum ferritin is also low. So serum and urine hepcidin are raised. This protein you will also get the raised levels. So these are all the clues that will take you towards the diagnosis of anemia of chronic disease. T-reactive proteins or the inflammatory markers are also usually raised. ESR is raised because of inflammation. So treatment is only successful treatment of the underlying condition corrects the anemia. However, some patients, particularly those with cancer, benefit from administration of erythropoietin. You know, exogenous erythropoietins are injected to these patients of anemia of chronic diseases so that their erythropoiesis does not get hampered. So, beta, this is all for today. I hope you understood this is very important, iron deficiency anemia. So I hope you all got the topic. Thank you so much. Allah Hafiz.